History is filled with houses that refuse to sit quietly in the past. From the twisting corridors of the Winchester Mystery House to the infamous Amityville Horror House, certain addresses seem to attract stories the way old wood attracts dust. Some are architectural curiosities. Others are crime scenes. A few, depending on who you ask, are something far stranger. But while many haunted houses live mostly in legend, one modest rental home in northern Indiana came with something unusual. Official reports, hospital records, clergy statements, and police testimony. It wasn't a crumbling mansion or a Victorian relic. It was an ordinary house on Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. And in 2011, it became known as the Demon House. The Ammons family, Latoya Ammons, her mother Rosa Campbell, and Latoya's 3 young children, moved into the rental property in November of that year. The house was quiet, unremarkable, the kind of place you wouldn't look at twice while driving past. At first, life unfolded normally. The family unpacked. The children adjusted. Winter crept across Indiana, bringing with it freezing temperatures and long, dark nights. Then came the flies. In December, black flies began swarming the screened-in front porch. Not 1 or 2, but clusters, thick enough to draw attention. It might not sound alarming at first, except for one detail. Flies do not thrive in Indiana winters. Most species survive cold months underground in dormant stages. They do not hover on porches while frost forms on windows. The family killed them repeatedly. More appeared. Strange, yes, but strange alone doesn't make headlines. Soon after, unexplained sounds began echoing through the house. Footsteps when no one was awake. Doors creaking open. A particular basement door, locked, secured, would be found standing open in the morning. Then Rosa Campbell experienced something that pushed the situation beyond nuisance and into fear. One night, she woke to see the shadow of a man pacing in the living room. Convinced she was dreaming, she approached the area. No one was there, but on the floor were wet boot prints, fresh, leading across the room. The atmosphere in the house shifted. What had been uncomfortable became oppressive. The most chilling event reportedly occurred on March 10, 2012. Latoya's 12-year-old daughter was having a sleepover. Around 2 a.m., Latoya checked on the girls. Rosa was called into the room moments later. They claimed the 12-year-old was hovering, levitating several feet above her bed. Prayers were recited in panic. Eventually, the girl lowered back onto the mattress. When she woke, she remembered nothing. At this point, authorities were contacted. Police responded, but skepticism was immediate. Claims of levitation and shadow figures don't align easily with routine reporting procedures. Soon, the Indiana Department of Child Services became involved. Concerned that the children's distress might stem from abuse or psychological influence, they temporarily removed the children from the home. Case manager Valerie Washington began investigating. What she found complicated the narrative. By official accounts, the children appeared physically healthy. No signs of abuse were documented. Latoya showed no immediate signs of delusion or instability. The family insisted something external was tormenting them. Police returned to the house with Rosa and a Department of Child Services representative. According to Captain Charles Austin of the Gary Police Department, equipment began malfunctioning during the visit. An audio recorder allegedly captured unexplained sounds. Photographs reportedly displayed odd shapes and anomalies. Even more unsettling, Austin later claimed strange disturbances followed him home. Garage doors opening, car issues without explanation. Desperate and running out of institutional support, the Ammons family turned to the church. They were instructed to cleanse the house. Floors were scrubbed with bleach and ammonia. Crosses were drawn with oil above doors and windows. An altar was built in the basement where scripture was recited nightly. For a brief period, things quieted. Then the activity returned. In April 2012, a hospital chaplain familiar with the case contacted Reverend Michael Maginot of Merrillville, Indiana. Maginot visited the home after reviewing accounts and ruling out, in his view, conventional explanations. He later stated he witnessed lights flickering, blinds moving without drafts, and other disturbances. after conducting blessings and ultimately performing exorcisms on Latoya Ammons, he concluded the house was afflicted by multiple demonic entities. According to reports, he advised the family to leave the property entirely. But relocation requires money, and money was limited. Latoya sought help elsewhere, consulting clairvoyants who claimed the house hosted over 200 spirits. Whether exaggerated or sincerely believed, the message was consistent: get out. Instead, the family attempted further spiritual remedies, burning sage and sulfur, reinforcing prayer rituals. The children's behavior, however, became increasingly alarming. They reportedly spoke in deep voices, displayed aggression, claimed to see entities others could not. One described dying. Another growled at unseen figures. The most extreme incident allegedly occurred during a hospital visit. Medical staff and case workers reported witnessing one of the boys walking backward up a wall in what was described as an unnatural manner. The account made its way into official documentation, fueling national media interest. Skeptics argue that stress, suggestion, trauma, or undiagnosed psychological conditions could explain the behavior. Believers counter that trained professionals documented events they struggled to rationalize. Eventually, after months of turmoil, the Ammons family moved more than 150 miles away to Indianapolis. According to Latoya, the disturbances stopped after leaving the Carolina Street home. The house itself remained empty but infamous. In 2014, paranormal investigator Zach Bagans, known for the television series Ghost Adventures, purchased the property. He set out to document the story firsthand. The resulting documentary, Demon House, chronicled interviews, investigations, and Bagans' own reported experiences. During production, he claimed to suffer unexplained illness and misfortune. Crew members reportedly left the project due to discomfort or fear. The film opens with a warning: viewers watch at their own risk. Whether theatrical or sincere, the marketing reinforced the legend. In 2016, Bagans demolished the house. Officially, the structure was torn down. Symbolically, some believe something else was released. Reverend Maginot expressed concern that destroying the building without a final spiritual cleansing could allow whatever resided there to disperse. Skeptics argue demolition simply removed a deteriorating property from public fixation. Today, the lot on Carolina Street sits empty. So what happened in Gary, Indiana? Mass hysteria? Psychological contagion? Religious interpretation layered over trauma? Or something that slips beyond conventional explanation? What makes the Ammons case endure isn't simply claims of haunting. It's the paper trail, police statements, Department of Child Services reports, hospital accounts, clergy testimony, a documentary filmmaker staking his reputation on the story. And yet, no definitive proof, no clear footage of levitation, no laboratory analysis of supernatural forces. Just testimonies, some sworn, some recorded, all debated. History tends to file such stories into two categories: myth or mystery. The Demon House resists both labels comfortably. For some, it stands as modern evidence that the paranormal intrudes into ordinary life. For others, it represents the powerful intersection of belief, stress, and suggestion. What remains undeniable is this: a family moved into a rental home in 2011. Within months, their lives unraveled publicly and dramatically. Institutions became involved. A house gained international notoriety. And eventually, the structure itself was erased from the landscape. But legends don't require walls to survive. They travel through testimony. They persist through film. They linger in empty lots and archived reports. So what do you think? Was the Demon House a genuine encounter with something beyond explanation? Or a case study in how fear, faith, and circumstance can converge into something that feels supernatural? Either way, one thing is certain. For a quiet home on Carolina Street, history will never be quiet again.